There was once a rich man whose wife was very sick. One day, she called her only daughter to come near her bed, and said,
"Dear child, be of good character and God will always take care of you, and I will look down upon you from heaven, and will be with you."
And then she closed her eyes and died. The girl did as her mother told her and went every day to her mother's grave and wept. Soon, her father married a new wife. His new wife was the meanest and proudest woman that was ever seen. The new wife brought 2 daughters home with her, and they were beautiful and fair in appearance, but cruel and proud like their mother. The young maiden's step-sisters often maltreated her. In the evenings, the young maiden had to rest on the hearth among them because she didn't have any bed to sleep on, unlike her step-sisters. The young maiden always looked dusty and dirty, so they named her Cinderella. One day, a message came from the king inviting every eligible lady in the land for a ball so that the prince could choose a bride from among the ladies. When Cinderella's step-sisters heard, they started to order her around and said,
"Comb our hair, brush our shoes, and make our buckles fast."
Cinderella wished she could go to the ball too, but she didn't have any clothes.
"No, Cinderella, you have no proper clothes, and you do not know how to dance, and you would be laughed at."
Her step-sisters. Soon, they were all dressed up and left for the ball, and as there was no one left in the house, Cinderella went to her mother's grave, under the hazel bush, and cried,
little tree, shake over me. That silver and gold may come down and cover me."
Just then, a bird flew over and cast down a beautiful dress. Cinderella was astonished. The dress was so beautiful, she couldn't help but admire it. She wore a dress and a magical carriage came and took her to the ball. When the prince saw her, he was struck by her beauty and wanted to know where she lived, but Cinderella ran to the hazel bush and hid. The prince searched for her, but he could not find her. When she got home, Cinderella took off the dress and had laid it on her mother's grave, and the bird carried it away. She then went back to sit in the kitchen among the cinders. The next day, after her stepsisters and stepmother had gone to the ball, Cinderella went to the hazel bush and called out to the bird again. Then the bird cast down a still more splendid dress than the one she wore the previous day. And when she went to the ball, everyone was astonished at her beauty. The prince had been waiting for her. When he saw her, he was excited. He took her hand and danced with her alone. When it was midnight, Cinderella rushed off into the hazel bush again, and the prince searched for her in vain. He wanted to know where she lived. On the 3rd day, Cinderella went to the grave and repeated the same thing. The bird cast down a more beautiful dress and gold slippers. At the ball, everyone was once again astonished by Cinderella. When it was almost midnight, Cinderella wanted to go home, but the prince had a plan. The prince had caused all the steps to be spread with pitch. As Cinderella ran off, her golden slippers got stuck and she had to leave it behind. The prince then picked it up, and saw that it was very small and slender. The next morning, the prince ordered his men to find the maiden whose foot the golden shoe should fit. The 2 sisters tried on the glass slippers, but it did not fit them because their feet were bigger than Cinderella's feet. The king's son then asked if the sisters had another sister, but the mother said,
"Oh no, she is much too dirty, I could not let her be seen."
But the prince insisted that Cinderella be shown to him. After Cinderella had cleaned herself, she curtsied to the prince and slipped her feet into the golden slippers. It fitted her perfectly. When Cinderella stood up, the prince recognized Cinderella. She was indeed the beautiful maiden that had danced with him. He cried,
"This is the right bride."
The stepmother and the 2 sisters were thunderstruck and furious. The prince put Cinderella on his horse and rode off. The prince married her and they lived happily ever after.